Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. His birth name was Michael King Jr., but his father later changed both their names to Martin Luther in honor of the German Protestant reformer Martin Luther. Martin Luther King Jr.'s father, originally named Michael King, was a Baptist minister and a prominent civil rights leader himself. Born on December 19, 1899, in Stockbridge, Georgia, he later moved to Atlanta. Martin Luther King Sr. played a vital role in shaping his son's views on civil rights. He was the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, where both he and his son would later serve as pastors. Martin Luther King Jr.'s mother, Alberta Williams King, was a skilled organist and choir leader. She was born on September 13, 1904, in Atlanta. Alberta and Martin Luther King Sr. married in 1926. Tragically, Alberta was assassinated on June 30, 1974, while playing the organ at the Ebenezer Baptist Church. Her death was a devastating loss for the King family. Martin Luther King Jr. grew up in a nurturing and religious household that placed a strong emphasis on education, morality, and the importance of fighting for justice. The teachings and values instilled by his parents and the Black church tradition greatly influenced his commitment to nonviolent activism and his leadership in the American civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr.'s childhood was marked by the segregation and racial discrimination that was prevalent in the southern United States during the early 20th century. Here are some key points about Martin Luther King Jr.'s childhood. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, in the family home on Auburn Avenue. He was the second child and the first son of Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. The Kings were a middle-class African-American family. King attended segregated public schools in Atlanta and was a bright student. He skipped both the 9th and 12th grades and entered Morehouse College in Atlanta at the age of 15. Morehouse College was a historically Black college where King's father and grandfather had also studied, growing up in a family deeply rooted in the Baptist faith. Martin Luther King Jr. was exposed to the teachings of nonviolence and the importance of social justice from an early age. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a Baptist minister, and the family actively participated in the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. King experienced racial segregation and discrimination firsthand, even as a child. These early encounters with racism and injustice had a profound impact on him and contributed to his later commitment to fighting for civil rights. Inspired by the family's strong religious background and his experiences, King decided to follow in his father's footsteps and enter the ministry. He was ordained as a Baptist minister at the age of 19. In 1953, Martin Luther King Jr. married Coretta Scott, and they would go on to have 4 children: Thalonda, Martin III, Dexter, and Bernice. Coretta Scott King played a significant role in supporting her husband's civil rights activism. Martin Luther King Jr.'s childhood laid the foundation for his later activism and commitment to equality. The challenges and injustices he faced growing up in a segregated society fueled his determination to bring about social change through nonviolent means. His childhood experiences profoundly shaped his leadership in the American civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr. was highly educated, and his academic achievements played a significant role in shaping his intellectual and moral development. Here are the key aspects of Martin Luther King Jr.'s education. King attended segregated public schools in Atlanta, Georgia, during the era of racial segregation. Despite the limitations imposed by the segregated system, he excelled academically and skipped both the 9th and 12th grades. His early education was marked by a strong emphasis on the importance of education instilled by his parents, Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. At the age of 15, King entered Morehouse College, a historically Black college for men in Atlanta. Morehouse College had a profound influence on him, and he was exposed to intellectual, philosophical, and theological ideas that would shape his worldview. King's decision to attend Morehouse was influenced by his father and grandfather, who were also alumni. While at Morehouse, King became familiar with the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, the leader of nonviolent resistance in India. Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent civil disobedience left a lasting impression on King, influencing his later commitment to using nonviolent means in the struggle for civil rights. After graduating from Morehouse with a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology in 1948, King continued his education at Crozer Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania. He pursued a Bachelor of Divinity degree which he completed in 1951. King was elected president of the student body at Crozer and was influenced by various philosophical and theological ideas. King pursued doctoral studies in systematic theology at Boston University. He completed his Ph.D. in 1955 and his dissertation titled A Comparison of the Conceptions of God in the Thinking of Paul Tillich and Henry Nelson Weeman reflected his deep engagement with theological and philosophical ideas. During his time at Boston University, King was exposed to a diverse intellectual environment that further shaped his perspectives on justice, equality, and human rights. Martin Luther King Jr.'s education was a crucial factor in his development as a leader, thinker, and advocate for civil rights. His academic journey exposed him to a range of ideas and philosophies, and he integrated these influences into his later work as a prominent figure in the American civil rights movement. The influence of religion on Martin Luther King Jr. was profound and pervasive throughout his life. Coming from a family deeply rooted in the Baptist faith, King's exposure to Christian teachings and the Black church tradition significantly shaped his moral compass, values, and his approach to social justice. Here are some key aspects of the influence of religion on Martin Luther King Jr. King was born into a family where his father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a Baptist minister. The family actively participated in the life of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. The sermons, prayers, and religious rituals at home and in the church played a central role in King's early upbringing. The Christian teachings of love, equality, and justice had a profound impact on King's understanding of the world. His commitment to nonviolence, inspired by Jesus Christ's teachings, became a cornerstone of his philosophy in the struggle for civil rights.